Oh, I know this backstory gonna smack. I can tell, because it's already jaw-dropping. Get it? Because his jaw is literally dropping off. Thank you to our $5 patrons, Sinners Lancelot and Artgoon. And a big thank you to our $25 patron, the Mr. Greed. Now, before I have a breakdown of chapter 349 of My Hero Academia, please do me a favor, leave your own list on the chapter in the comment section down below, leave a like, and subscribe if you aren't already. Also, make sure to hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Any support would be appreciated. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I got the pencil, and here we are to chapter 349. Is what I would say if we didn't have a poll to cover from last week. I'm keep breaking y'all ankle. Well, to be fair, if you don't watch all the videos, that joke doesn't really. But regardless, let's break down last week's poll. So I asked y'all if Toga, if y'all agree with Toga's philosophy on love. This should have been a unit. I hope the 17% of y'all out of the 88 votes. I hope y'all capping. I hope y'all. That was a bait poll. I was hoping we would get no. I'm not really trying to get munched up, whichever the way she wants. But no, with it's 17%, and to be fair, it's still lost. Thank you. If it had won, if a whole bunch of y'all had said yes, woo, I'd have questions beyond questions. But at least it was only 17% of y'all that say yes. But here's the thing, right? I can kind of to becoming one thing. If we remove the munching, I like the idea. I will admit. We remove the fact that someone's going to have to get eaten and not the way they want to get eaten. Fine. But, like, Toga's philosophy is literally eating people. So, 17% of y'all have some different type of timing. But the 83%, I rock with y'all. Alright. Enough of that. Make sure to check out next week's poll dropping. Well, not next week's poll. Tomorrow's poll dropping whenever it can. It should drop at 12. It should drop at 12. Vote on that week's poll so you can get into the discussion, the community discussion around this week's chapter. Well, enough stalling. Let's get into chapter 349. What's up, guys? I'm Hunter, and here we are to read chapter 349 of My Hero Academia, which is known as Battle Flame. And honestly, if I were to talk about this opening color page, like, it's very cool, right? And to be fair, I like both of these characters. I think Maruko is best girl in the series because she doesn't have any competition. And I also think that Bakugo is a really cool character. He's one of my, I think he's just flat out, yeah, he is my flat out favorite from Class 1A. So these are two of my favorite characters. However, I'm gonna have to get on Horikoshi. I mean, I think it's, well, no, I'm not necessarily getting on Horikoshi because his design is still great. But, like, why? I mean, maybe you didn't want to cover the kanji, but it's so weird that Bakugo's arm is faded until it isn't. Like, the way you see, like, essentially his entire form is faded, but then his glove is perfectly fine. I guess because it's not, I don't know, it's a weird coloring choice there and, like, overlaying choice. Maybe that was just, like, a layers issue. I'm new to digital art, so I always mess up on my layers. I'll, like, color an entire thing on one layer only to realize, wait, that was the wrong layer, and then have to undo and erase all of it. So maybe that was just a layering issue and ran out of time. And Maruko, I don't know, like, now that I see what in high detail what she has for mobility, like the nub plus ski and the gun hand, I don't know. Like, This is a big, and notably, I love Maruko, but this is a big case of, why did you come here? What was the point? You should have just, like, and who knows, maybe she's going to be wild. Maybe she's going to be the reason they beat Shigaraki in the end. But literally, I don't know. That just looks, it looks so whack. I'm not going to lie. It's not even, and I know color coordination is not the most important thing right now. They probably just threw some red paint on there and call it done. But you couldn't at least make it match the outfit, Horikoshi? Like, the red stands out so much from the purple, yellow, and white that it just seems. But then again, the red matches her eyes. But her eyes are such, like, a minuscule detail on her compared to the rest of her aesthetic design that it just feels weird. And the black only goes with the corset. So, like, I don't know. I feel really, really mixed on that. And her involvement in this entire, I get it. She's a hero. She's going to fight to her last. But at the same time, like, if she's the sacrifice that has to be sacrificed to Shigaraki, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm kind of shocked she wasn't sacrificed when she got grabbed and lost her arm and leg right then and there. Because, aptly put, no one needs to stay alive anymore. Just get rid of people, guys. And no, I love Maruko. Don't make me. I don't picture me as a guy that's like, yes, slaughter the bunny girl. No, she's best girl in my mind. And I'll fight for that. And I will fight, and I will die on that. Well, I won't die on that hill. I will fight. But no, I won't even fight. Have your best girls, whoever. I know a lot of people still love Uraraka. So, enough. And speaking of Uraraka, let's hop right into the chapter itself. Let's transition out. We get to see the object of her affection is currently flying off. And notably, this is actually a really cool way. And I wonder if this is a Superman reference. I feel like it has to be, but then again, every flying character flies like this. So maybe it's not a Superman reference. Is it a Dragon Ball reference? No, I'm kidding. But essentially, we see Midoriya flying, but he's essentially not really, because he's using float in order to maintain his trajectory, which I think is really, really cool. I like that. I like how he's staying level with the ocean a few feet above it. Though reasonably, maybe it's like a air pressure thing, but I wouldn't want to be like parting the ocean. I'm not sure if that adds us a drag or anything, but once you want to go to like free air, like you can leap up and then go. I get he got a running start off the water though, so maybe that's why he's so low to the ground. He doesn't want to slow his momentum down, which makes sense. You want to activate float and try to just keep going. And then he's using the third spot gen, and I guess maybe it's the constant gripping of his toes and fingers that's allowing him to use Fajin. But it's kind of shocking that... it's kind of shocking that at least he should be going at a reasonable rate, but then again, it makes sense. It makes sense, because he's a long distance to cross. That's why they had to use warp anyway to get them to that island, because it was pretty far off the shore. But we see, even in Midoriya's mind, he's noticing how much time it's taking, even with him using the quirks he's using. Because he's using Air Force, Fajin, everything, flying, and he's still too slow for it. And since he's out at sea, there's nothing he can really grab onto to try and enhance himself. And notably, I think that would actually slow him down. The only thing Black Whip is good for, really, in terms of mobility is like that initial burst as a slingshot and like redirection. I wouldn't say you'd use that as a constant like Spider-Man kind of swing thing. You may build momentum, but I think just keeping up a straight flying pattern with like constant pushes from Air Force to increase your velocity would be better than swinging from place to place. You may only want to use Black Whip for your takeoff, not so much your travel time. And of course, we get to see that Midoriya is thinking of using full 100%, which implies that he's currently going at the cool 45, and he is about to do it, but one of his many internal mentors pops up and is like, "Hey, chill. Hold on. Wait a minute. Don't lose your cool. Your decisions are becoming muddled." And I do, like, once again, not really the biggest fan of the whole one for all, multiple quirks, people inside a thing. It's not a thing that I appreciate, even if I get that it was retroactively for it. I still don't think that in the Sports Festival art. No, hold on. Before I say that, I need to go reread that. And I will one day, after I make these complaints. I'll do a whole video talking about One for All, and I'll review all the foreshadowing for it. But while I'm not the biggest fan of the end result being the multiple people in Midoriya, being the multiple quirks, being essentially everything that has to do with this, I would have greatly just preferred Midoriya being a strong boy who had to think hard to use the strong boy things. I'm okay, and I do like seeing these past personalities pop up. Like these past people who showed up with One for All and had One for All, being able to influence Midoriya in a way. And this influence is what keeps them on the straight and narrow for the most part, which is very, very useful. Midoriya is a pretty headstrong character. We get to see that the third's main question is, the gear you're wearing, is it really capable of taking One for All at 100%? Do you really plan on wasting your equipment right now before you even get to the battlefield? And that's interesting. To be fair, I do think it was confirmed that his gloves were destroyed in the battle with Nagant, because of how I'm using full 100%. But, like, I mean, notably, I still think this was very unoptimal. I do definitely think, because, like, that's weird, though. Like, how were they planning to get back? Because my initial thought was, every single team was going to attempt to take down their group of villains, and then after they were done, the whole war was going to converge on Shigaraki. Like, that's what I thought the end goal was going to be. I thought we were going to have everyone do their jump plan on the villains that they have, complete the jump, and be like, I bet, Monoma, dial me up, baby, and then fly back through a portal. But it seems like everyone's going to be isolated, because think about it, if Midoriya, the once again, second or third fastest person in the verse, depending on who you think is faster right now between All For One and Midoriya. And I mean All For One's old body. I think Shigaraki still is faster because, you know, that Prime All Might stuff. But between All For One and Midoriya, the fastest character, constantly accelerating their speed, is still way too slow to get back at any reasonable pace. So is it really, like, is the squad that's with Shigaraki right now truly the only people that are going to fight him? Like, you don't think it never would at least be a little bit useful? I know Shigaraki has survived him before, but still, like, the raw power and potency behind his quirk would be useful. Shoto's gigantic ice construction and manipulation would be useful. Like, you have some powerhouses like Kugo Sakamata, Gang Orca, he'd be useful, at least in terms of raw strength. Like, there's some powerhouses locked off at some of these other places, and I get why they're there somewhat, but at the same time, what, Bakugo, Best Genius, and Muruko? And Tamaki and Nejire, like, that's the best. That's what we got. That's what we're rocking with. That's it. That's all we can do. Nothing else fancier than that. We can't put any more powerhouses there. I know Midoriya was supposed to be there, but still, like, Shigaraki is this massive threat. You think they'd have a plan or something to allow the gang to get back, and so they can complete the jump. I get all the villains are important, but still, that jump mentality is definitely required right here, right now. But of course, we get to see Midoriya. He's holding back, right? He's, and I love how it is very, very cool, right? There's some things I've been liking with Midoriya in these past two chapters, and one of them is like how, when questioning, he's like, no, but there's still an ellipses there, meaning he's still thinking about it, right? Like, notably, Midoriya from previous would just say no, and it would be a period. But with the ellipses there, he's like, no. As in, and his eyes are narrowed, so it shows like he's definitely considering using 100% One For All anyway. Like, the idea of wasting all this time, even if he's ruining his battle equipment, doesn't seem too inoptimal to him. And we see that I think this is the first, or the second user, he asks if Midoriya tried to use his quirk, or as he refers to it due to his time period, meta ability. And Midoriya hesitantly responds once again, yes. And that's interesting, right? Because what is this? Like, and I know, obviously, we need some last super powerful quirk hidden all this time so he can defeat Shigaraki. Because right now, like, and notably, this isn't just a me thing. This is me and the common internet consensus from what I've seen. No one or their mother believes that Midoriya can beat Shigaraki right now. The hype behind Shigaraki is too darn great. Even with this nebulous nerf, he's still boku crazy local doko powerful. Like, it's actually insane how strong Shigaraki is. And this Midoriya, who can't even use 100% properly without using Fajin to stack on top of it, what is he supposed to do against someone who's comparable to, at least in speed, it should be everything, but at least in speed, to Prime All Might? I don't know. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me. So I guess Horikoshi is trying to supplement that by having the second user hide their quirk, because the second user goes out of the way to explain he's like, hey, I told you that would be a last resort. After melding with One For all our meta abilities have strengthened significantly. Because of that, mine is transformed into a very useful but specific type of power. And we see that it is something well beyond what it used to be, something well beyond our control. Don't lose hope. This is a battle that will decide the future. So the thing is, right? What is this final quirk? Is it a multiplication ability? I'm assuming that's it, right? Or maybe it's a cloning ability or something like that. Because notably when he says beyond our control, it implies to me at least something that could hypothetically be dangerous to the user. And the only things I can really think of are something that would create something autonomous from the user that the user cannot control, and or a power multiplier that could hypothetically destroy one's body. So say the reason that he's so hesitant to use it is because it may have in the past provided like a 1.1 times power increase, but with the implementation of One For All and the fusion with it, it now provides a 10 times power increase. And the amount of damage that meta ability would do if used would be way too drastic to even justify the repercussions, because the scale of the attack would be that big, that hefty, that juicy, if you will. And obviously, that's no good for someone like Midoriya, who doesn't want to risk destroying his body again, especially in such a high volatile, high risk situation. But at the same time, I can see why he's telling him to save it as a last resort, because if he pulls up on Shigaraki, and Shigaraki's just 2-piecing him, 3-piecing him, no drink, and 15 different Popeyes biscuits, then I could definitely see why he could say, hey, pull that out right here, right now, because then that would be a tide turner. That would be something that just absolutely jacks up Shigaraki, because if Midoriya is at 45% right now, and we know his 100% should rationally be superior to All Might's 100%, and Shigaraki is comparable to a Prime All Might. Say Midoriya can multiply his power by like 3 times. He's going to 150%, and bada bing, bada boom, destroyed. Of course, his whole body may be destroyed, but hey, it'd be like that when it'd be like that sometimes. So, I don't know. I'm not sure if there are theories about it, what the second quirk is. Then again, I'll admit I haven't looked too hard, but I mean, like, to be fair, this isn't, I'm not going to say whenever it pops up, it's not like it isn't being built up. Like, it's being built up right here. It's being built up the moment all the other quirks were introduced, and we knew there were other users that lived within the quirk that had their own quirks. This has been built up even way before that. I think it's like either early Vigilante arc or even pre that, where I forget who said it. I think it was the Black Whip guy that was like, hey, you should hurry up and tell him your quirk. And this red hair Bakugo lookalike was like, I would, but I shouldn't, so I won't. So, I don't know. Hands up in the air. I'm kind of intrigued, but at the same time, I'm assuming that's just going to be used to defeat Shigaraki. And by defeat, I mean, like, subdue. I still don't think Midoriya has a resolve in him to, like, permanently take care of the Shigaraki situation. I'm still on this, like, notably, as you all can probably tell by my past couple reviews, I am a massive, gargantuan, ultimate omega, hyper, super duper, juper, super saiyan, rainbow omega fan of Shigaraki. And I'm even more of a fan of the fact that he needs to go. Like, legitimately, I believe he needs to die. Like, the threat that he poses is too great to let wander out. The threat of All For One's existence, and the quirk and the person, to the even idea that either of those things could persist, can't. Like, they need to die. But Midoriya doesn't seem centered on that. At least, if he is, there hasn't been enough inclination for me to believe that he is willing and ready to kill Shigaraki at this point. He still is going to risk talking to him. So this final big gap power may be the thing that will allow Midoriya to break through and fight back against all the super fleshy Omega Shigaraki fan or whatever. Like, I mean, it's fine. You gotta have that secret weapon. You gotta have that final touch, that final push. You gotta have... I can't spoil that because that just happened this week, and I know not everyone reads One Piece, myself included. But, like, you gotta have your that, if you know what that is. You gotta have your Sukunas, your Karamas. You gotta have that last super secret, I got it on me in the back weapon. So it makes sense that Horikoshi is building in his own little safety net through whatever this secret final quirk will be that'll undoubtedly save the day. Honestly, it'd be kind of more satisfying, even if it would make less sense if Midoriya just didn't use it. Like, can you imagine if Midoriya beat Shigaraki without it, and the second user was like, oh, well, I guess I provided nothing to the narrative, deuces, and then whatever. I don't know. It'd be kind of funny. But then we get to see that essentially Midoriya is being told, hey, focus up. You have your own battle to take care of. Your friend's got this, even though your one girlfriend obviously proved that she didn't have it. So, whatever. She dies, she dies. We got backups. There are countless other women that the fandom should be with. Go wild. And, he kind of spitting right now. And he's spitting so much that we transfer over to that useless friend. That is Uraraka. And yes, I know, I keep calling her useless, but I'm shot. I read every single comment. Not a single Uraraka fan came to defend Uraraka last chapter. So I think even y'all know that was jacked up what happened to her last chapter. Once again, it's not... I say it every time I go to criticize Uraraka. I do not want to dislike Uraraka. It's just Uraraka has given me no reason to like her. The end. Alright, now, we see that Uraraka is like, okay, perfect. He's out of here. He's dipped. And also he's like, you know what? That's great. Because Midoriya will not be able to ignore this girl's words. Uraraka could ignore this girl's words. Like, I mean, also, you may not know, but your two friends here, they're incompetent. They keep trying to sympathize with the villains. They ain't on that demon timing that's necessary in a hero v villain fight. I hate to say it, they just aren't. So Uraraka is not going to do any better against Toga, I'm afraid. And, like, once again, I already went on an entire rant. I think I doubled last week's review just by complaining about Uraraka. So I won't go in depth here. But we literally see in Asui's internal monologue, she's like, and besides, listening to the feelings that have been hidden so long being confessed, it's so awkward. Like, even Shino's like, man, Toga really beat Uraraka to it. That's depressing. And to be fair, that is depressing. That's Uraraka's entire character. But of course, we get to see that Toga's like, man, come on, I'm tired of you. I'm tired of Uraraka. I'm tired of Midoriya. This is awful, man. I love y'all. Really. Shouts to support. Shouts to letting me escape so many times. Shouts to not equal rightsing me. Great. However, I'm just going to do me at this point. So if y'all could do me a favor, dip, remove yourself, erase yourself. Let's keep it pushing and get out of here. However, interesting thing to know about that statement is one, they're letting, like, once again, I can't necessarily get too on Horikoshi for this. This is a common anime thing, right? But this is the second time they do this. And you know she can literally disappear at any moment and then strike you again. And unlike before, you don't have a Midoriya to come in and save you here. She's just standing there talking. Attack her, like legitimately, like she would get halfway through a sentence. She'd literally be like, "I've had enough of Izuku." I would have thrown Asui at her. I would have thrown myself at her. Like something's got to get thrown, and she's gonna be thrown 6 feet under once I'm done with it. Like legitimately, I'm kind of shocked that they're just sitting there and letting her monologue, because it like instead of fighting head on, like we seem to leave off the chapter with, what if she just vanished again and stabbed you? That was it. Like, it was a GG. You're done. You're done, son. Goodbye. Good riddance. Adios. So, that they just let us speak here. Super duper risky. However, there is something to note here, and it's the fact that Toga, she reaching for it. And I think we all know what it is. She got that special sauce on deck. You know, that little twice, that 2 for 2? I think she got that in that little pouch of hers. So she gon'... Oh yeah, no, literally, I'm stupid. I didn't read the text because it blends in so well, but she literally says in the panel, "Isn't that right, Jin-kun?" So she has her own little the Splagaki in the back. You know what I'm saying? Like, she has her own little secret weapon. She has her own little second quirk, her little Karama, if you will. So if she pops that because these people are sitting there and letting her pop things, it's actually kind of wild. Because at that point, if she pops Twice's blood and is at any way, and I mean in any means, way, or form competent with his quirk, the war is over. And I mean the war is over. Because, like, say, even if, right, say there are just thousands of Togas. Or no, just say there are thousands of Twices. Say she can't do anything but duplicate Twice, because she knows them that well. There are going to be thousands of Twice Togas. That's terrifying. And to be fair, the issue is they'd be isolated to that island, because I don't see, unless they build a raft or something, I don't see them getting back to the mainland. So to be fair, there would just be an island of Twice Togas, and I know somebody's into that. Someone in the comment section is into that, but it wouldn't be for me. So obviously, it's a big curb stomp if they let her activate that. But we get to see, like I said, Toga's like, "Yo, do me a favor, heroes. It's been real. It's been fun, but I'm gonna need you to just get on out of here and appreciate that. Deuces, my boy." And of course, Uraraka's like, "How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, young lady?" And it just says no. Uraraka decides to follow her own desires as Uraraka Ochiko, as Toga wants to follow her own desires as Toga Himiko. So, I mean, it's a battle declaration, and it's cool to see Uraraka take up a martial arts stance. But once again, like, Toga could just turn invisible and no diff you, like she almost did last chapter. So, like, I'm not sure what faith I'm supposed to have in Uraraka here when she just took it out. And I know she didn't lose the fight, quote unquote, but once again, remove Asui or Midoriya from that scenario, and Uraraka would be dead. It's not. I don't have much faith. Like, that's the thing. Like, we leave off on this really cool panel, and here's the thing: if Horikoshi just lets her win on her own, let her run the one and actually succeed and properly put down Toga, probably not in the unaliving sense, because we know Horikoshi, for some reason, he's really on this track to make you want, he really wants to redeem the massive serial unalivers, so I don't know. But at least in terms of that, as long as Uraraka wins, I will chalk it up. I will give her one W. Singular. singular. You know how much that hurts to say? Like, I'm thinking of Orihime. I'm thinking of at least Sakura got the Sasori fight, right? And she had her moments in the war. Orihime had a whole arc of just feeling useless to becoming useful. Like, she had a whole thing there. She was squad healer. She was very important. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, big female main characters that always get pooped on. And, like, they have more than what Uraraka has shown me, which is really, really sad. However, hopefully she gets this done. However, we're going to cut away from that because we only spent a very little time there. Before we cut over to this raging massive inferno. And jeez, I was talking about Horikoshi and how that man can draw some darn water. This man can draw heat. And I don't mean heat as in what he produces as flames. I mean he actually can just really well draw flames. Like the fire, the inferno, the blaze, if you will. It is gorgeous. I don't know. I love it. I love it. I love the dark tinges on the ends of it, the like lighter tinges going all throughout it, and the bright white, and how it's contrasting and like killing the sky. Like, the artist in me. I love it. I love it. I love it. But of course, we get to see that this isn't just happening for no apparent reason. They are in the Kanagawa Prefecture Kamino Ward, which is ironically enough the same place that the whole All Might incident happened in. I wonder if they picked that place for nostalgia purposes. I don't know. Once again, I get on, and tell me how y'all feel about this. I must be nutty by saying this, but wouldn't it have been better to transport the fire dude to where there's water everywhere? Like, is that just me? Am I stupid? I simply have to be stupid, right? Because, like, can you burn sand? I mean, you can turn it to glass. But, like, why would you give the pyromaniac so much to burn? I mean, stone's hard to burn, too. But still, you had the option to send him to a whole ocean. And then literally keep him there, too. Like, Dabi doesn't have enough firepower in him left alive to fly back to the mainland. Why would you not send Homeboy to an ocean? But once again, went over that in last chapter review, so I won't go too hard on that. I'm just asking the question. Don't y'all think he would have been better at an ocean? At least in order to take down? But regardless, good to see that apparently the dwindling stock of heroes is getting liquidated right here, right now. Because with this amount of raw destructive power in Dabi and these gigantic Nomus, which is interesting. I think that's the Nomu that we saw that reminded me of Asnot from Bleach. He reminds me of that design because the spikes coming out of him. I think Horikoshi does like Bleach. I forget if he said that was one of his inspirations or something, but I think that's more a Tabata thing. But that Asnot Nomu OC, it looks very, very nice, and we get to see that the situation is pretty darn awful, right? Because now that they're in a sea of likely blue, extremely hot flames because of Dabi, and there's a gigantic Godzilla-esque Nomu running around with spikes coming out of its body and probably some form of regeneration, meaning it's super difficult to take down, they just aren't in the best spot, which is why you maybe should have taken him to an island. But of course, we see that Dabi is feeling a bit nostalgic in Kamino Ward because obviously a lot of stuff has happened here, or at least the major thing that happened here. And at the same time, Dabi reminiscing on him making his major moves only after he saw the battle at Hosu City. And is he did Dabi actually see the Stain battle? I don't think he was there. I know he heard of it, and that was what led him to Shigaraki, but I don't think he ever saw the Stain battle. Was the Kamino Ward wait, it says Kanagawa Prefecture. Okay, so maybe Hosu City contains the Kanagawa Prefecture and Kamino Ward? Maybe that's it? And I just don't know that, but because that would explain the whole All Might fight. But then again, no, that doesn't make sense, because he says, I only began making my moves after seeing a spectacular battle at Hosu City. And I know Hosu City is where they fought Stain. I'm not sure. Did he see the Stain fight? Correct me in the comment section down below. But we see that regardless of that, he's still lighting everything up. And Ida, being Ida, unfortunately, since it's not the Stain arc anymore, he's completely useless. I can't even say useful. And he's just standing outside the Inferno. And he says the reason he's doing this is because if he were to get any closer, his engines would overheat. And then he'd become extra useless. So, yeah, Ida's essentially not going to be a factor in this fight. And that does sadden me. I really like Ida as a character. I think he did really, really great, especially for an early series character to go as far as he did. However, I feel like Horikoshi, it's not necessarily, he doesn't feel hesitant to keep him out of the narrative. Once again, it's the Mirio Salgado problem, where his ability just, in terms of raw potency, isn't the best. Like, you can only power creep Ida to a certain degree before it becomes Flash levels of stupid. And I don't think Horikoshi ever wants Ida to get to Flash levels of stupid. So, unfortunately, I think he's just always going to be caught in this nebula. Like, Ida's literally just going to be a watcher, a commentator on the Dabi versus Shoto fight. And to be fair, it's to be expected, but still unfortunate. And, of course, we get to see that Dabi is... Oh, he's apologizing. He's like, oh, my fault. Didn't mean to, go on that little bit of a rant. But, hey, be like that, be like that sometimes. And I guess the old man still ain't looking my way. Darn, I was really hoping I'd get him this time. And we see, I don't know, right? Because, once again, like, I remember a whole comment thread argument I had about Dabi. But for a character that claims that everyone's so obsessed with his dad and everyone is his dad's puppet, what is he? Like, all he talks about is Endeavor. What are you, dog? Like where is your own autonomy other than non-existent? Like, I don't see anything he does that makes him autonomous from Endeavor by his own volition. Like, he made his entire life's journey, instead of growing up to spite Endeavor in some different way, to literally just torture the old man. But no, everyone else is his puppet. And it's kind of wild. It's very, very wild how... I mean, I guess it's supposed to be, like, that's supposed to be the hypocrisy, I guess, right? Like, the whole idea is that he's supposed to be so focused on Endeavor, and he's a big hypocrite by calling everyone else the puppet. But, like, I feel like people don't realize. I mean, who knows? Maybe that's a wrong interpretation on my part. But I don't know. I hear him do one thing. No, I hear him say one thing, but I watch as he does copious amounts of the exact opposite thing. He does nothing to individualize himself from Endeavor. So it's kind of, once again, it's pretty nutty in my mind. But of course, he's talking about how the third son is essentially kind of disappointing. He's looking at Shoto and what Shoto can produce. He's like, really, that's it? Like, this is what your third son can do after all that, and you threw me away? Like, come on now, this is all you can muster, Daddy-o? And why did I say Daddy? I'm gonna start throwing on the regular conversations. But we get to see that notably these two random sidekicks, and I think we have seen them before. I think they were either in Endeavor Agency or before that in Pro Hero. It's these two guys who work for Endeavor, and he's one dude, I guess Onima, he's telling Kid to stay back because of his body not being able to take on that much heat. And obviously this is Blue Flame, so it's even hotter than Endeavor, so he shouldn't use his brittle body as like a shield or anything like that. But according to Kido, he's like, it's whatever. I control the trajectory of literally everything, including flames, so heat don't bother me too much. I do it all the time. I work for Endeavor. What do you think I'm supposed to do? You think I'm just supposed to stand there and burn, cook to a crisp? That's not me. You may have got me confused with somebody else, but it ain't me. It is not that. I am not that guy. I'm not the person you're looking for. But we see the bandages slowly come undone and kind of reveal his face. And notably, I do like, once again, I like the loyalty that Endeavor has fostered in his people, right? Like, in an unsafe situation going up against his literally deranged and insane son, these people are like, hey, I was given a job by Endeavor. That's all I'm here for, and that's all I'm going to complete. Like, I've been doing this for 10 years, and he literally calls him Old Man Endeavor. Like, these Old Man Endeavor. Like, these people view Endeavor, if not as a father figure, See, the thing is, I know so much about One Piece through cultural osmosis and Tekken 101 that I like can make references to it, but I can confidently tell you I've read a total of 2 chapters, and it was one. I think I've read the 1,000 chapter. I just read 1044, and I read a few pages of the first chapter. So I really have no context for this, but Endeavor seems to be like a Whitebeard to these people because he's inspired this loyalty, and they call him Old Man, and it seems to be this like deep father-son relationship or not father-son, or at least a respectful relationship between superior and inferior. Like, they have respect for the man, and I think that's great. And of course, we get to see that Burnin is on the lines of, hey, I don't care what this has to do with his family. I'm just here serving because he served us. He's done every job honestly, and he's taking it seriously to this date. He's that dude. He's earned my respect. And he's earned my respect. That's why he's the best character in My Hero Academia by a long shot. And all you Shigaraki stans, myself included, I know. But like, I don't want Endeavor to die. Like, no, notably, I'm a Shigaraki stan. I love his development. I love his growth. I love his character, his quirk, everything. But notably, not only has Shigaraki fumbled the bag towards the end because of Horikoshi making him get possessed by All For One, but two, he's just not Endeavor, dog. Endeavor's just better. But of course, we see that Burnin is essentially here to support Todoroki with everything they've got, right? Like, her, the other two, they're here to essentially let the family feud go on uninterrupted. And we get to see that Todoroki actually appreciates it. Like, and once again, that's cool little development for Todoroki. Todoroki in the beginning of the series would have never said that, but he actually does appreciate the fact that he's going to be getting some support here. And Burnin is like, it's whatever, you just need to take care of this, because don't waste your well, no, she essentially says, don't waste your energy thanking me, just stop the madman. And Dabi, well, no, Todoroki is like, yo, Toya, Dabi, whatever your name is, let me level with you real quick. I'm not here because I was ordered to. I'm not here because Dad sent me here. I came here of my own volition because I don't remember you ever since you tried to kill me as a baby. It'd be like that when it be like that sometimes. So I'm here because I want to be the one to stop you myself. Like, this is my duty as an individual, as your younger brother, to step up towards you and run your fate. It's but the laws of nature, big bro. Come down here and catch these hands. And I do like that declaration, right? Like, it's once again, it's showing Shoto's autonomy in comparison to Dabi, who has no autonomy. And then once again, Dabi goes on to say, "Can you see how that makes you Dad's puppet?" Does your entire life's work up to this point, all the bodily harm you've done to yourself, the fact that you're literally burning away right here, right now on panel, make you realize and see how you're Endeavor's puppet? And like, notably, it's like an auto-running program too. Like, you can definitely argue for a majority of his life, Shoto was Endeavor's puppet. He literally was his toy. He trained him up to be the ultimate weapon to defeat and surpass All Might. I will give Dabi that. However, someone who was freed from that life, notably, who was completely freed from that life, is the person who's literally letting their dad control them indirectly. Endeavor's out here watching HBO Max, meanwhile Dabi's running Netflix. Like, these two things are completely independent of each other, but somehow one of the things is claiming, oh, no, I'm not a streaming service that's totally at the beck and call of another ping. That's not me, that's someone else. You got me wrong, come on now. But in actuality, it is just the case. Dabi's the puppet here. That's why I think he's boring. But, of course, we get to see that. Interesting. Can you see how that makes you Dad puppets? And when Dabi says that, Shoto responds, if that means he can take his mind off you and keep being a hero, then so be it. And like, Todoroki, fight back, bro. Like, and the thing is, it's not even much of a fight. I'm confident if someone just like three-piece Toya with some logic, he would like have a whole mental breakdown. Like, if I were there in Todoroki's position and Dabi said to me, can't you see how that makes you Dad's puppet? I'd be like, not really, but do you see how dedicating your entire life to revenge on one man who kind of forgot about your entire existence because of me, because you decided to go and burn yourself to death? Doesn't that make you Dad's puppet? Like, I would hit that man with the cleanest of full counters. I would have damaged his ego, everything. And that's a brotherly thing to do anyway. Come on now. Everyone out there has thrown shade with their friends and or family. Come on now, you got to do that. But Shoto's too good of a guy. And we get to see that Dabi's like, well, they're going to be like that sometimes. Since we're all individuals, not nameless soldiers, let's just fight it out. You know, everyone, let's explode all at the same time. And notably, I do, like, once again, Dabi, he be spitting sometimes, but I think it's accidental. I don't think Dabi's smart enough to spit. But we get to see Toga is fighting to change the world. And we get this really cool shot of Spinner, which I decided to appropriate for my drawing for this chapter. However, the weird thing is, like, he is drooling. But then I'm not sure if it's drooling or it's paper, right? Because notably, it's not, once again, weird thing, it's not round enough to be drool or liquid. Like, usually if you're drawing any sort of liquid of a sort, especially one that's leaking from a mouth, it'll be like round, buoyant, if you will. But none of it doesn't seem very buoyant. So it's kind of weird seeing it like that, but it'd be like that when it be like that sometimes. And then we get to see Shigaraki with his his super finger. I don't know. Notably, I'm not a person who likes body contortionist stuff or anything like that. Anything that deviates from the regular human physique, I'm not the biggest fan of. So seeing Shigaraki grow fingers out of his fingers, it's nasty to me. But of course, we see that Dabi's essentially explaining, like, yo, not gonna lie, some people want to change the world, but keep it as it is for the most part. And some people want to destroy the entire world and don't really care what's going to happen after it. We are the result of deviations and failures of the system over time. This is the limit of supernatural society. That is what I am, what we are. And it's one, I'll give Dabi this. Unless he's referring to himself in Todoroki, which is also arguably the limit of supernatural society. If he's talking about him and his colleagues, this is the first time since, I'd say, the Hawks reveal, since he actually considered himself an equal alongside his fellow League of Villain members. After the Twice reveal was revealed that he never really cared about the League, and he never had any respect for anybody, because he's a bad character. No, I'm kidding. But essentially, he never really cared about anything or any of them. But through this admittance that, like, oh, we are the limit of a supernatural society, he's aligning himself with them, even if subconsciously, and I think that's cool. But then, of course, we get to see that Todoroki asks a very simple question, like, well, okay, seems legit, sorry about that, but if you were alive, why didn't you come back home? And to be fair, quite a valid question, honestly. So Dabi responds with, like, oh, you want to know that? I guess that is important. That didn't get covered in my flashback chapters because that wasn't there. Yeah, I might as well. I'll tell you everything about how I became Dabi. The reason why my flames never extinguished and surpassed even those of Dad's masterpiece. And, I mean, it's cool. Notably, I mean, it's a weird thing, right? Well, I don't think anything this flashback can show me can redeem the flashbacks we already got from when he was younger, pre the incident where he burned alive, supposedly. Like, I don't know. It's just not something that I think is conceivable for me to actually, like, deeply invest myself into, like, not gonna lie, just because, like, I know that he was nuts before anything else now. Notably, My Hero Academia is on break next week, so I think I will drop the Dabi video then. I'll talk about how I don't like Dabi as a character, but at least where I believe Horikoshi fumbled the bag the most was making Dabi crazy before he made Dabi crazy for the sake of being crazy in my mind. Like, Dabi's actions are inherently, by their nature, unjustifiable based off what he was told, what he was requested to do, and what a regular human being's reaction would be. So I can't feel bad for the dude. So anything that this flashback does to elaborate on how he survived or anything like that, I'm sorry. It's not going to do much for me and his character. However, it's cool to see part of his face fall off as it finally burns away. So he's kind of turning more and more into a Frankenstein-esque monster. Pretty cool. And it's cool to see him cry. Obviously, I love it when characters cry in moderation. But that's the end of the chapter. I think this chapter, it's pretty solid. It's very much a setup chapter. Like, Midoriya is in transit. Uraraka and Toga are about to finally have their real battle, and Dabi is about to give some backstory. So, like, it's weird to say nothing happens in this chapter, but, like, nothing happens in this chapter. No one starts fighting, no one reaches their destination, nothing happens. We just get affirmations of things we either A, already knew, or B, just nothing. And that's fine. Like, that's still, like, a solid 6 to 7 out of 10 chapter, just on the art alone, right? The art definitely carries here, because when no story content is happening, it's the paneling, it's the artwork, it's how deep and detailed a mangaka goes into it. That makes me really go like, alright. Spicy. So I'll definitely give Horikoshi that. His art is still amazingly top tier, from the fire to the water to everything. Still great, even if nothing happens. However, those are my thoughts on the chapter. Please tell me your thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Any support would be appreciated. Now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.